Okay, this is another thing I have about, it's about the Christian religion that I have a hard time understanding, and why I can't really be a Christian. There's lots of things, but this is one of the ones. Okay. I'm in a movie, okay? I'm a character in a movie. And in the movie, this guy drives me to my knees, sticks a gun against my head, and starts screaming at me, love me, God damn it, love me, or I'll blow your head off right now. Okay. Sorry, I'm not an actor. Okay. But I'm scared to death because, oh my God, there's a gun against my head and this guy's screaming at me. And I'm like, okay, don't kill me, I love you, don't kill me. Okay. So the guy picks me up, throws his arms around me and is hugging me. He's like, oh, thank you, I love you so much, thank you for loving me back. Oh, I just feel so much better. Let's go out dancing. Okay. Well, like, looking at him like, okay, you actually believe that I love you? I mean, it actually seems to mean something to him. He's got, tears in his eyes, and he's all choked up because I love him. Oh, he's got that warm, fuzzy feeling that somebody loves him. And now he wants to go out to dinner with me. He believes me. He just had a gun against my head, and he threatened me and bullied me. And basically, it was my life or love him. Okay, well, of course I'm going to say I love you. I don't want to die. I don't want my brain splattered against the wall. But he believes it? What an idiot. This guy's got like 2 brain cells in his head. If he actually believes me. So, okay. The creator of not only the galaxy, but the universe, and now they think that there's actually other universes out there. I mean, space is infinite. The creator of all that is just that stupid that he doesn't know when all these people are going, if you don't follow him, if you don't love him, you're going to go to hell. Wow. There's a huge motivation to love somebody. Okay. Just tell me what I need to do. Okay, get on my knees. Check. I'm sorry. Check. Dear Jesus, please come into my heart and be my Lord and Savior forever. Check. Okay, I'm a Christian and I believe and I'm going to go to heaven now because I love God. Oh, and I have to, go to church and I have to sing songs and I have to read the Bible. And I do love God. I love God so much, because I get to feel belonging when I'm around Christians. I get to feel community and acceptance and knowing that this guy died for me and everything. Wow, it's hard not to love somebody like that, especially when they're telling you that if you don't, you're going to go straight to hell and suffer forever. Eternal damnation. I'm sorry, but how many Christians are walking around thinking they really love God? I personally know some Christians that really do love God. I know some really amazing people that are Christians, and they love God. It is absolutely genuine in their hearts. And, those are the kind of people, if there is a God, they're going to be precious to him. But I'm sorry, there's a huge chunk of people out there that love God so they can go to heaven. Self-serving love. Just as much as I love that guy who put a gun against my head and threatened to kill me if I didn't love him. How is that going to impress God? It's not. God knows. If there's this almighty being who created everything, he's going to know fake love when he sees it. Self-serving love. Okay, can I have my ticket now to go to heaven? I'm sorry, but it's like a carrot. Here, you get this prize if you love me. It doesn't impress. And then I see all the time on atheist boards where these Christians will show up and they'll come in and they'll say, you're all going to hell if you don't. It's like, thank you for coming in here and issuing threats and being a bully and acting like you're so fucking arrogant. Hello, how can you, a little human, a little peon human, know the mind of the great and powerful creator of everything? You're like, I know 100% that there is a God. Oh, you do? Why? Because you got this warm, fuzzy feeling? I was a Christian for 35 years. I know the warm, fuzzy feeling. I'm not a Christian anymore. I haven't been a Christian for 3 years. I haven't lost the warm, fuzzy feeling. I still have it. It comes when I'm feeling, it comes from me. It's every one of us has that warm, fuzzy feeling. It comes from ourselves. There's moments, there's moments when it's not even something you can describe, but it doesn't come from an imaginary friend. It comes from ourselves. Inner peace, finding balance, whatever. I have it as an atheist. I had it as a Christian. I did know God. I was a counselor at a Bible camp. I was a Sunday school teacher. I read the Bible. But you know what? That's another thing. Christians read what they're told to read. I can't even tell you how many times I'd flip through the Bible and look for the highlighted bits. You know, the Old Testament, never touched it. Never really touched. I tried several times. So incredibly boring. Anyway, it was when I actually started reading the Old Testament that I saw God for what he was, for real. He's the guy with the gun, putting the gun against my head. That's the nature of God. You've got all these Christians running around saying, he's this loving God. He loves you so much, he sent his only son to die. Well, you know, first of all, if he had made humans correctly in the first place, he would never have needed to send his son. Why didn't he make Christians so we wouldn't be flawed? If we weren't flawed, we would never have succumbed to temptation in the first place. But he made us flawed, and then he punished us for being flawed. And he made Satan flawed. He made Lucifer flawed, and then punished Lucifer for being flawed. And he knew ahead of time everything that was going to happen. He knew ahead of time, before he made any of us, which of us are going to heaven and which ones of us are going to hell. And he made us anyway. What kind of a nice guy would do something like that? I mean, if you were a parent and someone said to you, okay, if you give birth to this child in 20 years, you know, they'll have a nice, normal first 20 years of life. But after that, they are going to suffer for the rest of their lives unbelievable, unceasing agony and torture and just misery upon misery upon misery. Would you still want to have that child knowing that that was what you were putting him out into the world to experience? That was his fate? That he would be in a place where he's in agony all the time, unending, never any hope of it going away. You'd bring that child into the world still? If you loved your child, would you be able to bring a child like that into the world knowing that that was his fate? God does. You know, if God already knows which one of us are going to hell, why does he put us on the earth and make us feel like, oh, we all have a chance of being his children? We don't have a chance. It's already in the cards. He knew before he made us which one of us were going to go to heaven and which ones of us were going to hell. It's his divine plan. Nothing's going to change that. He knows the future. No matter how many times I have a change of heart and decide I'm going to be a Christian and repent, ultimately, if I'm an atheist at the time I die, I'm going to hell, and he already knows that. You know? So why put us here on the earth? Why even make us go through this? It's like a little mouse in a maze looking for cheese, and there's no cheese in the maze. We're going through the maze, and we end up starving to death because there's no cheese. I think that's called cruelty. You know, why put life on this planet and make us have this hope that we too can get this wondrous salvation that is promised to us, but we're not one of the chosen people. We're the ones that he needs so many people to be burning and suffering in hell. He made hell specifically for people to be thrown in there and suffer. People that are predestined to be in hell. People that he made that are not savable. Sorry. can't be saved, I'm one of those people that's going to be in hell. Or heaven. I'm sorry. Hard to love a God like that. It's like, again, back to the Old Testament. People say he's a loving God, and how can they say that if they have read the Old Testament? It's like, okay, instead of killing himself, Hitler gets caught, and he decides he's going to turn over a new leaf. He's going to be the nicest guy. Nobody's going to believe how much different he is. He's going to walk around and give money to the poor, and he's going to help little old ladies across the street. He is going to be, he's going to help these Jewish families that he utterly destroyed to get things back, and he's going to be a good guy now. He's really. So what? We forgive him? We forgive him for the atrocities, the horrendous, horrible atrocities that he committed on entire families, taking away their loved ones, their memories, their property, everything, their dignity, their humanity. We're just going to forgive him because he's nice now. Hey, we can forget. What's a few thousand Jews? Really. They're dead already, so it's no big deal. That's kind of what Christians do about the Old Testament. Oh, that was in the Old Testament. Then Jesus came. Now God's a nice guy. We all think he's so loving. Those guys in the Old Testament, they're dead. They've been dead for not millions, but thousands of years. So who cares if they're dead? It doesn't matter. That's the way God was before, Jesus came along. And, okay, what about that, Jesus coming along? He didn't really, there was God's chance to fill in the blanks that he never really talks about in the Old Testament about other things that we shouldn't do, like, have slaves or have abortions. If abortion is so horrible to God, why is it not said anywhere in the Bible that we shouldn't have abortions? That's such a big important thing. Why doesn't it say somewhere that we shouldn't have abortions? I think God could have cleared things up. Kidnapping is wrong. Yeah. Just all these things that the Bible doesn't cover. Child abuse. Incest. All these things that the Bible doesn't say is wrong. Anyway, this is getting really long, but my point is I don't think that we can just forgive and forget a God that commits the atrocity this one does in the Old Testament. He makes Hitler look like Captain Kangaroo. I'm sorry. and I'm sorry, I can't say that this is a loving God. But anyway, if he does exist, it scares me because what a monster. And if he does exist, this is a very intelligent monster. He knows when people are being self-serving and saying they love him just to go to heaven. Personally, I think I'd rather, what does it say about how God feels about hot and, lukewarm? Either you're hot or you're cold. Well, I'd rather be a cold atheist than a lukewarm Christian just walking around saying, I love Jesus and I love God just so I can get brownie points and go to heaven. Because God knows. Fake! Okay, that's all. End of. Wow, this is really long. Bye!